But you thought they really loved you. Is that it? You thought they really loved you. You thought that they really loved you with all of their Nazi scientists, their KKK, and their dream of end times Jewish annihilation. You thought they loved you. You thought they'd never turn on you. Well, I mean, tell me, did you really think that when they were spreading all of that propaganda about how powerful AIPAC is, and about how much the Jews control the media, and how much the Jews control finance, and how you supposedly run the world and what have you, are you telling me that you all thought that that was flattery? Complimentary? Did you think it was all pillow talk? No, they were setting you up to take the blame for everything that they used you to do. For all the crimes that they commissioned for you to commit on their behalf. You understand? Oh, they're going to sell you down the river, just like they've done to every other accomplice that they ever duped to commit heinous crimes on their behalf. The same as what you've done. That's what your whole country's history has been. But maybe you thought it was going to be different with you because you're Western, because you're white, because you're European, or what have you. But I mean, open your eyes. So are the Ukrainians. I mean, in fact, if you're looking properly, you can see very clearly that America has already thrown the entirety of Europe under the bus. They don't care. I mean, at least the Europeans are starting to get some level of cognizance to recognize, to one extent or another anyway, even if it's after like 3 years of very obvious American-European divorce proceedings, the Europeans are starting to understand that there's America and there's the rest of the world, and that's it. But you still think that these people are your friends. And now you're begging for the U.S. to enter your war with Iran. But trust me, that's the absolute last thing that you need to have happen. You know, you're so used to the idea that escalation is always to your advantage, but that's not the case anymore. That's not the case this time, and it's not the case anymore. If there is escalation, it just brings you even faster to devastation. Like I said, what on earth do you have to protect? Think about it, honestly. What is there to protect when you know how the real game works in 2025? I mean, clearly you don't know how it works, so let me tell you. I mean, here's the calculation. A war-torn Israel is at least twice as attractive to investors than Israel intact. Come on, you know this. You know how investors see a war-torn Israel, how they see any war-torn country. They see opportunity. They don't see tragedy. They don't see collapse. They see opportunity because that's what it is for them. Because when a state like Israel gets hit hard, gets hit fast, gets hit on multiple fronts, what you get isn't just the rubble, you get a liquidation event. You get distressed assets. You get regulatory suspension by the government. You get panic sale. You get state desperation. You get privatization writ large. That's war dividend. Before the war, Israel was expensive. Bloated asset prices. You had real estate in Tel Aviv was like the same as Manhattan. The tech sector was overheated. Regulation was heavy. Civil resistance was loud. You couldn't touch most of the markets unless you were already embedded in those markets or you were overpaying to participate in those markets. But after the war, everything flips. Property values plummet. Owners liquidate. The government fast tracks permits. You know, permits that would normally take years. Zoning laws vanish under emergency conditions. And nobody's going to call it exploitation because it's reconstruction. Even better, the state needs you. You understand? The state needs you. Israel is going to hemorrhage public funds to rebuild. But of course, it can't foot the bill. They don't have that kind of money. They spent too much. So it sells their future off in bonds, in land, in long-term infrastructure deals. You understand? And who do you think has that kind of cash to buy all of that? Again, think it through because it gets worse. Foreign capital, especially from the GCC, especially from the Gulf, is going to flood you. Not for solidarity, not for peace, but because devastation lowers resistance and Arab money, Arab ownership, Arab residence, you know, in peace, gentrification gets protested, but in war, it's welcomed as salvation. Every Israeli by 2030 is going to be telling his new Arab landlords and his new Arab investors, you know, I was a peacenik back in the day. I was against the genocide. I protested Netanyahu. I'm an anti-Zionist. That's what you're going to be saying in 5-10 years. So when you think about how much more attractive Israel is for investors after war, now think about whether or not you really want America to escalate. Put it this way. If pre-war Israel intact, scores a 3 out of 10 on the return on investment risk-reward scale for cold capital, post-war, it jumps to 8 or 9. Because now you're not competing with legacy oligarchs anymore. They all left on their yachts. You watched them go. You're not going to be stuck in bureaucratic paralysis because you're the solution. You're the savior. You're the savior investor, angel investor. And the very people that you hyped up as your mortal enemies are going to be taking over with the help of the very people who promised to protect you against those same people. Welcome to Reconstruction. It's de-Zionization on an industrial scale. No, you aren't doing anything when you escalate this war, but accelerate the end of your own colonial project. You should be able to see that. No one's worried on our end. I mean, do you have any idea how much richer our countries are going to get as a result of your delusions of genocidal grandeur? Oh, and yes, it's going to be our money. Not loans, not gifts, not aid from the United States. Our money, our land, our dominion, our sovereignty. You know that saying in the Bible, your Judeo-Christian friends attribute it to Jesus, alayhi salam, in the Bible. The meek shall inherit the earth, they say. Well, a more accurate translation of the word meek is those who are gentle, who are humble, and who are disciplined in their strength. Those who do not assert themselves through violence. That's what meek means here. So the right way to say that passage in the Gospels, blessed are those who are patient. Blessed are those who are humble, with power under restraint, for the land will be theirs. That's what it said. But I know you don't believe any aspect of the Christian side of the Judeo-Christian equation, but that's fine. The Torah says the same thing. It says that those who are not arrogant shall inherit the land. They shall inherit the land and they shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Or as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised to those among you who believe and who do righteous deeds that He will surely grant them succession in the land. So it doesn't matter which book you want to look at, which book you believe in. You and I both know that none of these refer to you, and none of these refer to the Americans, and none of these verses refer to the Westerners. No. There is only one nation that fits that description, and you know it and I know it. There's only one nation that is right now seeing that play out in the region. And you and I both know that it's the Muslims. And what you need to understand is that this is going to happen with or without a war with Iran. It's going to happen with or without escalation. It's going to happen with or without America entering the war. Because this is just the trajectory. This is the way it's going. So you can either do it the easy way or the hard way. These are really your options. You're choosing to do it the hard way, but that's going to result in a much harder outcome for you. It's not going to result in a harder outcome for us. The easy way gives you a much more softer landing. Doing it the hard way, well, it's going to be a harder landing.